How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are watching this video, most likely you guys are trying to figure out if you guys should buy a Canadian imported car, or if you're just watching for general information, welcome. I was looking into buying a Mustang GT. I did buy one, but I was looking into buying a crimson red one, which is a pretty rare color, and they were giving a pretty decent deal on it. I later found out the car was Canadian, and I decided not to go for it. Now, here are the reasons why you should or should not buy a Canadian imported car, and here are my reasons for why I didn't buy one. I'm just going to start off right away saying mostly cars that were made in Canada and the US are nearly identical, except for maybe a couple few things like the dash, and then some cars have like daylight running lights, so those might be different, but other than that, there's pretty much no difference between Canadian and US cars. So basically both cars are exact same from both countries, but there are like 5 reasons why you shouldn't buy one. So just starting off right away, Carfax in Canada isn't really up to date. Carfax has only been in Canada for about 2 or 3 years right now, and they're updating every single day. Now, if you buy an older car, let's say you buy like a 2010, and the car has a history of, accidents on it, but you look at Carfax and the Carfax history is clean. Later on, that car could show up with a bad Carfax or something like that. You might not have any title issues because obviously you call the dealer that the car is from in America and they're like, yeah, the car is a clean title, but there might be some accident issue and you might not be aware of it. So that's just something to be weary about. Carfax isn't really a good representation of Canadian cars. Make sure you do check the Carfax and see if the car is from Canada. Usually you won't be able to find out the number of owners that the car has had through those Carfaxes. I was looking at the Mustang and it said, it couldn't tell me how many owners the car had. Given that car was 2 years old, but still, you just have no idea what could have happened with the car, who could have had it, and all of that. And it's just a little bit weird to have a car that you don't know the history of 100%. In America, of course, Carfax is basically always right, and it is a very reliable source for the history of your vehicle. A Canadian car being imported is a little bit of a different story. Now going on to the next reason. The next reason is the harsh climate. Most people don't want to buy a car from Wisconsin or even Michigan, Minnesota because of salt and just rough conditions and snow and all of those things. You're buying a car that's even further from the north. So think about it that way. There's going to be more damage done to it than just here in the US. You're going to have the car driven through much harsher conditions and everything like that. For the used cars, if you're buying a used car from Canada, you're more better off spending the extra $2,000 to get the car you want than to cheap out for $2,000 and later pay the price. So obviously the cars are going to be from a rougher condition, but also think about it. Why is Canada importing the car into the US in the first place? Sure, it might have gone through a wholesale auction and ended up in the United States, but in most cases, the car probably isn't a good example. And if most Canadian places don't want that car, why would you want that car in the US? Or why would you want to buy that car in general? If Canada doesn't want it, and it's being brought into the US, most likely case is that car is pretty much not a good example, and it's just being brought here just because it didn't sell or whatever the case may be in Canada, and then it got brought here, and now it's being listed as a cheaper car, and people are probably going to end up buying it without really looking into the history. So it's more better to buy the car that's worth $2,000 more, because later on you never know what you might uncover from these Canadian cars. Not saying that all Canadian cars are like this. If you go see the car in person, maybe you'll find some things, that might not look right, or maybe you'll find a completely clean car that's been taken care of and all of that. But most of the cases, the reason they're importing the car in Canada is not, having any concern about the car being imported to the United States is usually the car is not going to be the best condition. Moving on to the next thing is warranty. As far as Ford goes, Ford will, they will still do warranty work on the car if it's brought from Canada to the US. Most Japanese companies like Toyota, Honda, if a car switches between countries, or at least between Canada and the US, they just won't do any warranty work at all. That's what I found from online. Personal experience, obviously I bought a Ford Mustang. I called my dealership here in town, and I sent Ford an email. So my dealership called me back and they're like, yeah, we'll still do warranty work, 100%, all of that. I never heard back from Ford. I might have, but I bought a different car at the point, so I probably deleted the email. So you probably want to contact your local Toyota dealership and your local Honda, whatever, and then call or email the service centers of the actual companies to make sure they'll do all of that. That's if you're buying whatever car might be. Even if it's a Ford, I would still recommend you call your local dealership and you send Ford an email so you have documented proof that they said they would do warranty work on those cars. The next thing is like regional warranties, regional recalls. If your car has a recall in Canada but the United States cars don't, which most likely will never be the case unless it's, again, part of that system that only the Canadian cars had. They won't do the warranty work in the US. They won't do the recall. You're going to have to either pay for it or take it to Canada to get that done. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You can't do the recalls that are only regionally available in Canada. You're going to have to take the car to Canada. And also, like, that goes along with warranty work that was only specific for the Canadian cars. If you have the Canadian warranty and that is not the same as the warranty in the US, they won't do the work most likely, and because they're going to do everything they can to not do free work. So you got to be a little bit careful about that. Also, warranties are shorter in Canada. They have a shorter warranty period than here in the United States. For Ford, at least. Ford gives a much longer warranty in America for American customers than they give for the Canadian customers in Canada. So you're going to have a shorter warranty if you do buy the Canadian car, which again, you're going to spend maybe $2,000 to $3,000 less for the Canadian one, and you're not going to get the warranty, and you'll have potential, a potential headache on your head that you're not going to be able to get your car serviced. Those are just some of the things I found and what I researched. There's a really good dealer who basically wrote this all out, and I'll definitely link that if I can find the link in the description. So I'm going to do my best to make sure I can go track that back and find it, because he had a lot of good things to say. I also found this on many other forums and stuff like that the Ford will do it, but a lot of other dealerships won't. So this is just my take. If you guys have your opinions in the comments, your experiences in the comments, make sure to share them down below. Other than that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.